Well, that's drab, Officer Miller said, stating the obvious. It used to be a mural, I explained, my voice still tight with anger. A beautiful, colorful mural. And the HOA president? He had it painted over. I then showed them the security camera footage. They watched in silence as Gregory Holloway, HOA overlord and destroyer of art, supervised the repainting of my driveway, toasting to his victory with his fellow beige enthusiasts. Officer Rodriguez shook his head. That's pretty blatant. We'll definitely be paying Mr. Holloway a visit. He wants to play hardball, huh? I muttered, pacing my living room, my mind buzzing with ideas. Fine, let's play. But I'm not playing by his rules anymore. And then it hit me. I wouldn't just repaint the mural myself. I'd hire a professional, a famous professional. I need a muralist, I declared, and then I found her, Elena Ramirez, a world-renowned muralist. This is it, I whispered, staring at pictures of Elena's incredible murals. This is exactly what I need. Dear Alice, the email read, your story is incredible and inspiring. I love the idea of using art to fight back against petty tyranny. I'm in. Let's turn your driveway into a masterpiece. I almost fainted. Elena Ramirez, the Elena Ramirez, was going to paint my driveway. Yes, I shouted, jumping up and down with glee. Take that, Gregory. Let's just get this out there. I'm not your typical suburban housewife. I'm Alice Parker, and I believe life's too short for beige. My house in the otherwise painfully uniform neighborhood of Harmony Heights is, well, let's just say it stands out. I'm an artist at heart, not a professional, mind you. I dabble in graphic design. But I see the world as a potential canvas. And my driveway? For years, it was just begging for some color. It was standard issue, plain, boring concrete, like every other driveway on the street. A vast expanse of gray just there, utterly unremarkable, utterly un-Alice. So one sunny weekend, I decided to change that. I roped in my kids, Leo and Mia, armed them with brushes and buckets of exterior paint. Non-toxic, of course. I'm not a monster. And we went to town. And you know what? The neighborhood kids loved it. They'd stop by on their bikes and scooters, pointing and giggling at the swirling patterns. Some even added their own chalk drawings to the edges, little temporary masterpieces that blended right in with our grand design. People walking their dogs, they would stop. People driving by would slow down. I got compliments. That's so cheerful, Mrs. Gable from next door exclaimed. It just brightens up the whole street. Even a few adults admitted they liked it. It made our house different, in a good way. It gave it personality. It was a conversation starter. And then it arrived, the letter, that dreaded cream-colored envelope. You know the one. The one that instantly makes your stomach drop and your blood pressure rise. The official-looking envelope with the Harmony Heights Homeowners Association logo in the corner. The paper equivalent of a death threat to creativity. Oh, here we go again, I muttered, ripping it open with a sigh. I'd had run-ins with the HOA before. My slightly too tall sunflower garden was a previous point of contention. Violation notice, it read, driveway surfaces. My eyes scanned the legalese. Driveway surfaces must remain a neutral tone to maintain neighborhood uniformity and architectural consistency. The unauthorized painting on your driveway is a violation of Section 7, Paragraph B, of the Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions. Please remove the unauthorized painting immediately and restore the driveway to its original condition or face fines. Neutral tone? I scoffed. Neutral? My driveway was a celebration of color. It was a work of art. It was definitely not neutral. I immediately grabbed my phone and dialed my friend Ben. They're attacking my driveway, Ben, I exclaimed as soon as he answered. My driveway? They're saying it's not neutral enough. Can you believe that? What is this? The Beige Brigade. Ben, who'd always appreciated my, shall we say, unique approach to home decor, chuckled on the other end of the line. Sounds like Gregory's on another one of his tirades, Alice. He probably saw a color that wasn't beige and had a conniption. Gregory, I growled. Gregory Holloway, the HOA president, the self-proclaimed minister of blandness, the man who probably dreamed in shades of gray. Don't let him stifle your creativity, Alice. Ben continued. Fight the power, fight for your right to have a colorful driveway. Oh, I intend to, I said, my voice hardening with resolve. But I'm not just going to fight with words. I'm going to fight with art. The next HOA meeting was my chance to defend my driveway, to plead my case, to try to inject a little bit of color into the monochrome world of Harmony Heights. I walked into the community center that Thursday evening armed with photos of my driveway, before and after our artwork, printed copies of articles about the benefits of public art, and I am ready to give a very reasoned speech about it. And then he entered. Gregory the Grinch Holloway, HOA president, champion of all things dull, and the man who apparently had a personal vendetta against brightly colored driveways. He took his place at the head of the table, adjusted his microphone, and launched into a PowerPoint presentation. The title slide read, Upholding the Architectural Integrity and Visual Consistency of Harmony Heights, A Guide to Compliance. I stifled a groan. This was going to be a long night. Gregory droned on and on about curb appeal, property values, and the importance of maintaining a clean, orderly, and respectable neighborhood appearance. He showed slides of approved driveways, all perfectly plain, perfectly gray, perfectly boring concrete slabs. And then he got to my driveway. A picture of my vibrant, colorful, joyfully painted driveway flashed on the screen. The caption read, Exhibit A, Driveway Disaster. Disaster! I almost laughed out loud. As you can see, Gregory said, his voice dripping with disgust, Ms. Parker's driveway is, well, it's an eyesore. It's a blatant disregard for our community standards. It's garish. It's unharmonious. He made it sound like I'd painted a giant, obscene mural on my driveway, not a playful, colorful design. We must maintain a clean, orderly, and respectable neighborhood, Gregory continued, his voice rising in pitch. This is not an art fair, Ms. Parker. This is a residential community. We have standards. I stood up, ready to defend my artistic honor. Gregory, I began, trying to keep my voice calm and reasonable. It was a challenge. With all due respect, there's nothing in the HOA rules that specifically bans driveway art. It just says the surface must be maintained. I pointed out that other homes in the neighborhood had decorative pavers, stained concrete, even those little reflector things. And besides, I added, it is not hurting anyone. In fact, most people like it. It brightens up the street. It's cheerful. I even tried to appeal to his apparently non-existent sense of humanity. Gregory, it's art. It's self-expression. It brings joy to the neighborhood. It's something different, something unique. Isn't there room for a little bit of color in Harmony Heights? Gregory just waved his hand dismissively, as if swatting away a pesky fly. This is my neighborhood, Miss Parker, he said, his voice filled with self-importance. And while I'm in charge, we will maintain standards. And your graffiti does not meet those standards. It's not art, it's vandalism. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. Oh, he wanted unacceptable? I'd give him unacceptable. The HOA meeting had been a complete and utter waste of time. Gregory Holloway, the self-appointed guardian of beige, had made it abundantly clear my colorful driveway mural was an unacceptable deviation from the Harmony Heights norm and had to go. I left, ready to fight. I spent the next few days researching, planning, and strategizing. I was going to appeal this absurd ruling. I was going to fight for my right to have a colorful driveway. I was going to do something. I started by rereading the HOA bylaws, searching for any loophole, any technicality, any shred of hope. I gathered testimonials from neighbors who liked the mural. I even considered starting a petition. I am not giving up, I declared to Mr. Whiskers, but all my plans, all my research, all my righteous indignation. It all came crashing down one gray, gloomy morning. I woke up early as usual, ready to start my day. I made a cup of coffee, stepped out onto my front porch, expecting to see the cheerful, vibrant colors of my driveway mural greeting me. Instead, I saw nothing, or rather, I saw gray. My driveway mural was gone, vanished, erased. I stood there, frozen, my coffee mug slipping from my numb fingers and shattering on the porch steps. It was like a scene from a nightmare, a surreal, horrifying vision of artistic censorship. It hadn't just been removed, it had been repainted. Not with a fresh coat of vibrant colors, not with a new, even more elaborate design, but with a dull, industrial, depressing gray. The kind of gray you see on battleships or prison walls. The kind of gray that sucks the joy out of everything it touches. The swirling patterns, the bright colors, the playful designs, the stick figures, the giant sun, Mr. Whiskers, all gone, erased, covered up by a thick, suffocating layer of HOA-approved blandness. First, I felt shock, a cold, numb disbelief that made it hard to even process what I was seeing. Then, the shock gave way to heartbreak. That mural wasn't just paint on concrete. It was a symbol of my family's creativity, of our joy, of our refusal to conform to the beige monotony of Harmony Heights. And now it was gone. And then the heartbreak turned to rage, a pure, unadulterated, incandescent rage that made me want to scream, to yell, to paint Gregory Holloway's house bright pink with purple polka dots. This wasn't just a violation of some obscure HOA rule. This was an act of vandalism. This was a personal attack. This was war. That monster, I roared, my voice echoing through the now gray and depressing driveway. He actually did it. He destroyed my mural. I immediately suspected Gregory. Who else would be so petty, so vindictive, so utterly obsessed with enforcing conformity? Thankfully, I'm not a complete idiot. I'd learned my lesson from previous HOA encounters, the Great Sunflower Incident of 22, the Flamingo Fiasco of 23, don't ask. I had security cameras. I rushed inside, my heart pounding with a mixture of dread and anticipation. I logged into my security system, rewound the footage to the early hours of the morning. And there it was, clear as day, captured in the cold, harsh light of the security cameras, was the evidence of Gregory Holloway's crime. It showed a group of figures, shadowy silhouettes in the pre-dawn darkness, approaching my driveway. And leading the charge, his face illuminated by the faint glow of a streetlight, his expression a mask of smug satisfaction, was Gregory Holloway himself. He was accompanied by a few other HOA board members looking like reluctant accomplices in a bizarre suburban art heist. And they weren't alone. They'd brought a crew of painters armed with rollers, brushes, and buckets of that hideous, soul-crushing gray paint. I watched, my blood boiling, as they obliterated my mural. They covered the vibrant colors, the swirling patterns, the joyful expressions, with a thick, uniform layer of gray. They erased my family's artwork, layer by layer, stroke by stroke, as if it were nothing more than a stain to be removed. And the worst part? The celebration. As the last bit of color disappeared, as the driveway became a uniform expanse of depressing gray, Gregory actually toasted with the other board members. They clinked coffee cups, their faces beaming with self-satisfied smiles. They'd celebrated destroying my art. They'd reveled in their act of petty tyranny. "Oh, you just wait, Gregory," I muttered, my voice dangerously low. "You just wait." As I kept watching the footage, I noticed they left something. I ran back outside, and there it was, taped to my garage door, a single sheet of paper. I ripped it off, my hands shaking with fury, and there it was, written in bold block letters, "Now it's community approved." The note was unsigned, but it didn't need a signature. I knew who had written it. It was Gregory, rubbing salt in the wound, gloating over his victory. "This is a war, Gregory," I whispered, crumpling the note in my fist. "And you just made a very big mistake." I grabbed my phone and dialed 2 numbers. My lawyer, and the police. It was time to unleash the legal fury. I practically threw my phone at the table as I hit the call button, putting my lawyer's number on speakerphone. "Angela," I said, my voice shaking with a mixture of fury and disbelief. "He did it. He destroyed my mural. He had it painted gray, and I have it all on video." Angela, my lawyer, a woman who thrived on conflict and relished a good legal battle, was instantly alert. "He painted over your mural?" she asked, her voice sharp with disbelief. "Without your permission? On your property?" "Yep," I said grimly. "He brought a whole crew in the middle of the night, and they toasted afterwards, Angela. They toasted to destroying my art." I could practically hear Angela's smile through the phone. "Oh, Alice," she said, her voice filled with a gleeful anticipation that was both terrifying and reassuring. "This is fantastic. This is this is beyond anything I could have hoped for. He trespassed. He destroyed private property. He committed a hate crime against color." "So what do we do?" I asked, feeling a surge of vindictive satisfaction. "First," Angela said, "you do nothing. Don't confront him. Don't talk to him. Don't even think about him. Let me handle all communication. This is now a legal matter, and we're going to play it by the book." "Got it," I said. Complete radio silence. "But what about the driveway?" "Leave it," Angela said. "Don't touch it. It's evidence. We'll get pictures. We'll document everything, and then we'll sue him. We'll sue him for the cost of the original mural, for the cost of the repainting, for emotional distress, for the crime against art." "I love it," I said, a slow smile spreading across my face. "And Alice," Angela added, her voice turning serious, "call the police. This is a crime. He needs to be held accountable." So I did. I called the Harmony Heights Police Department and reported the vandalism. 2 officers, a young, somewhat bewildered-looking officer named Rodriguez, and a more seasoned, seen-it-all officer named Miller, arrived at my house a short while later. I showed them the now gray driveway, the blank canvas where my vibrant mural had once been. "Well, that's drab," Officer Miller said, stating the obvious. "It used to be a mural," I explained, my voice still tight with anger. "A beautiful, colorful mural. And the HOA president, he had it painted over." I then showed them the security camera footage. They watched in silence as Gregory Holloway, HOA overlord and destroyer of art, supervised the repainting of my driveway, toasting to his victory with his fellow beige enthusiasts. Officer Rodriguez shook his head. "That's pretty blatant, Miss Parker. We'll definitely be paying Mr. Holloway a visit." Officer Miller nodded. "Destruction of property, trespassing? He's looking at some serious charges. And, frankly," he added with a slight smile, "I've heard about Gregory Holloway. He's not exactly the most popular guy in Harmony Heights." "Tell me about it," I said, feeling a surge of satisfaction. "He's made my life a living hell for years." "We'll keep you updated, Ms. Parker," Officer Rodriguez said, handing me a card. "But I think you can rest assured justice will be served." Justice? Yeah, that sounded good. But justice wasn't enough. I wanted revenge. And I had a plan. A brilliant, colorful, art-tastic plan. And Gregory Holloway was about to become the unwilling star of my masterpiece. Okay, so Gregory Holloway had declared war on my driveway. He'd thought he could erase my art, silence my creativity, and force me to conform to his bland beige vision of suburban perfection. He thought wrong. Because while he was busy celebrating his victory with lukewarm coffee and stale donuts, I was busy planning my revenge. My artistic, glorious, HOA-defying revenge. "He wants to play hardball, huh?" I muttered, pacing my living room, my mind buzzing with ideas. "Fine, let's play. But I'm not playing by his rules anymore." I wasn't just going to repaint my driveway. That would be too easy, too expected. I needed to do something bigger, something bolder, something that would make Gregory Holloway regret the day he ever messed with Alice Parker and her artistic spirit. I needed to turn my driveway into a masterpiece, a work of art so significant, so undeniable, so undeniably there that the HOA couldn't touch it. I needed to create something that would be legally protected, artistically acclaimed, and a giant, colorful screw you to Gregory and his beige brigade. "I need a statement piece," I said to Mr. Whiskers, my cat, who was, as usual, completely unimpressed with my dramatic pronouncements. "Something that screams art so loudly, they can't possibly ignore it." And then it hit me. I wouldn't just repaint the mural myself. I'd hire a professional, a famous professional. "I need a muralist," I declared, grabbing my laptop. A renowned muralist, someone with credentials, with recognition, someone whose work would be instantly considered a recognized artistic contribution, as per that glorious loophole in the HOA bylaws. I started researching, diving deep into the world of public art, muralists, and community art projects. I scrolled through websites, looked at portfolios, and read countless articles about artists who transformed ordinary spaces into extraordinary works of art. And then I found her, Elena Ramirez, a world-renowned muralist known for her large-scale, vibrant, community-focused projects. Her work had been featured in art magazines, on television, and even in a few documentaries. She'd painted murals in cities all over the world, transforming blank walls into breathtaking celebrations of color, culture, and community. "This is it," I whispered, staring at pictures of Elena's incredible murals. "This is exactly what I need." I found her contact information on her website, and with a deep breath and a surge of adrenaline, I sent her an email. I explained my situation, the HOA battle, Gregory's vandalism, and my desire to turn my driveway into a legally protected work of art. I poured my heart and soul into that email, explaining my vision, my passion, and my burning desire for artistic revenge. And then I waited. To my utter amazement, she replied the very next day. "Dear Alice," the email read, "your story is incredible and inspiring. I love the idea of using art to fight back against petty tyranny. I'm in. Let's turn your driveway into a masterpiece." I almost fainted. Elena Ramirez, the Elena Ramirez, was going to paint my driveway. "Yes!" I shouted, jumping up and down with glee. "Take that, Gregory!" Elena arrived a week later, a whirlwind of energy and creativity. We spent hours discussing the design, brainstorming ideas, and sketching out possibilities. I wanted the mural to be even bigger and bolder than my original one. I wanted it to be a celebration of Harmony Heights, but in a way that completely subverted the HOA's idea of uniformity. But I wasn't stopping at just a famous artist. Oh no, this was war, and I needed all the backup I could get. I contacted the local arts council, explained the project, and with Elena's impressive credentials and the story of Gregory's vandalism, I secured their official endorsement. My driveway mural was now officially a public artwork, protected under the HOA's own bylaws. And then, because I'm all about maximizing the drama, I reached out to a documentary filmmaker I knew, a guy named Alex, who specialized in stories about social justice and community activism. "Alex," I said, "I have a story for you. It involves an evil HOA, a destroyed mural, a famous artist, and the most epic act of artistic revenge you've ever seen." Alex predictably was intrigued. "Tell me more," he said. And so he did. He agreed to document the entire process, from the initial design to the final unveiling, turning it into a mini-series about suburban HOA tyranny and the power of art. "This is going to be huge, Alice," Alex said excitedly. "This is going to be legendary." The day had finally arrived, the unveiling of the new driveway mural. Elena Ramirez, the famous muralist, had worked her magic. My driveway, once a canvas of childish but charming art, and then a depressing slab of gray, was now a masterpiece. It was breathtaking. It was even more vibrant, more detailed, more spectacular than my original mural. Elena had taken my initial concept and elevated it to a whole new level. The colors were richer, the patterns were more intricate, and the imagery was, well, it was powerful. The local community was in awe. People were driving from miles around just to get a glimpse of the Harmony Heights driveway mural, as it was now being called. They'd park their cars, get out, and just stare, their mouths agape, their phones snapping pictures. It was like my driveway had become a tourist attraction. "This is incredible, Alice," Dave said, shaking his head in amazement. "You've actually turned your driveway into a work of art." "It's not just my work," I corrected him. "It's Elena's, and it's a celebration of the whole community." And then he saw it. Gregory Holloway. I'd been waiting for this moment, anticipating it with a mixture of dread and gleeful anticipation. I knew he'd drive by eventually. He couldn't resist. And sure enough, one afternoon, I saw his car, a meticulously clean beige, of course, SUV, slowly approaching my house. He came to a screeching halt, tires squealing, right in front of my driveway. He just sat there, frozen, his mouth hanging open, his eyes wide with a mixture of horror and disbelief. It was like he'd just driven into an alternate dimension, a world where driveways were allowed to be colorful. "What is this?" he yelled, his voice shrill enough to shatter glass, pointing a trembling finger at the vibrant, sprawling mural that now adorned my driveway. "What have you done?" I, meanwhile, remained the picture of calm. I took a slow sip of lemonade, smiled sweetly, and said, "Oh, this, Gregory, this is my new driveway. It's a recognized artistic contribution, you see, completely exempt from HOA interference, as per rule number 21A, I believe." I gestured towards the mural with my watering can. "It's a celebration of our community, Gregory. A tribute to the history, the culture, the vibrancy of Harmony Heights." Gregory sputtered, his face turning a shade of purple that clashed horribly with with everything. This is a mockery," he exclaimed. This is unacceptable. You've turned your driveway into a tourist attraction, a sideshow. It's art, Gregory," I interrupted, my voice firm, "and it's here to stay. It's been officially endorsed by the local arts council. It's even being featured in a documentary. You might want to smile for the cameras." I pointed towards a discreetly placed camera crew, filming the whole scene for Alex's documentary. Gregory looked at the camera, then back at me, then back at the mural. He seemed to deflate, his rage momentarily replaced by a flicker of fear. "This isn't over, Parker," he finally managed to say, his voice shaking. "I'm calling an emergency HOA meeting. We'll see what the board has to say about this graffiti." "Be my guest," I said, shrugging. "In the meantime, would you like a flyer? It's for the documentary premiere. It's all about the importance of artistic expression in suburban communities. I think you'll find it enlightening." Gregory just stared at me, speechless, defeated. He turned and stomped back to his car, his dreams of a beige, boring, and art-free Harmony Heights crumbling around him. Predictably, Gregory called an emergency HOA meeting. He was going to ban artistic contributions. He was going to change the rules. That emergency meeting never happened. His little attempt was shut down almost immediately. First, I had the art community behind me. Second, and more importantly, there was the matter of Gregory and the HOA board members destroying my first mural. My lawyer, Angela, had a field day with that. Charges of vandalism, destruction of property, and trespassing were placed. Lawsuits were filed. Gregory was, to put it lightly, screwed. He had no ground left to stand on. The HOA was forced to pay for all of the costs to repaint. He and his little cronies resigned. He sold his house, he moved away. I, on the other hand, had a beautiful mural on my driveway,